alone inside these empty, broken walls, and I can't see it clearly, but it's obvious. I know that you left me alone inside this empty, broken hall, and now you'll be the reason why my soul is tainted. Somebody help me, 'cause I'm feeling trapped and I don't know what to do. There's no one to save me from this hurt I feel deep within my bones. Did you ever think of me and see the things I did? Sold my soul and everything I was to the lowest bid. Crawled into your poison dome, yet every single time you got into my mind, you got into my mind. But all I ever wanted was you. But you left me alone inside this empty, broken wall, and I can't see it clearly, but it's obvious. I know that you left me alone inside this empty, broken hall, and now you'll be the reason why my soul is tainted. So how can I fix this? 'Cause I need to stop the aching in my head. My heart is breaking. Yeah, I'm tired of being stuck in the past. Did you ever think of me and see the things I did? Sold my soul and everything I was to the lowest bid. Crawled into your poison dome, yet every single time.
After an absolute instant classic in the debut week last week for Sim Racers Edge, we are here in Wisconsin at the Road America circuit for round number 2 of the inaugural season for Sim Racers Edge. Hello everybody and good evening. My name is Frank Marchese. Alongside me in the booth is Tony Trapasso. And Tony, I really don't know how we're going to top last week.
We're just going to have to wait and see because, you know, from what I'm seeing, I mean, we know that there are people in this field who can put on just comebacks. And we've seen on road courses before that sometimes you need to mount a comeback.
Yes. Certainly going back to Watkins Glen, say maybe, what would that be now? 6-7 weeks ago. That incredible drive that Nate Seifker had at the end of that race. And Seifker right now, as you would expect, if you followed the IndyCar Series racing here on ESPN, is currently sitting on the pole right now. We have just over 7 minutes left in the qualifying session, as Seifker currently holding down pole at a 1 minute 45.880. Chris Walker is a little over a half a second behind him. And Tony, we've come to expect this out of Nate Seifker when we come to these road courses. He's just on another level as everyone else.
An alien. Let's be honest. Nate Seifker is not on from this planet, especially when it comes to road course racing. I dare say that if the real world things that he has going on didn't interfere, Nate would definitely be a member of the Black Bumper Brigade, as we commonly refer to it here in iRacing.
I think so. So I'm getting a little bit of feedback here. I'm not sure if that's going over.
That would be the production booth.
All right, so that's not going over then. So 6 minutes left in the qualifying session here. We'll get into the top 5 here. Nate Seifker, Chris Walker, Chris Simard, Jeff Webker, and Jeffrey Roulette. Now, we saw Roulette here not that long last week having pretty much a mid-pack run at Auto Club. He's here on the road courses now, about 2.5 seconds off of Nate Seifker's pole time, but still up in the top 5. That's not a bad bounce back.
Absolutely. Roulette definitely showing that he's more of a road course specialist. Another name that I'm pleasantly surprised to see up in the top 5 right now is the 09 of Jeff Webker. Webker, known as an oval guy, laying one down here tonight at Road America.
And Webker was a big part of last week. He was up at the front quite a bit. The two biggest parts of last week, though, are Mike Sturgill. He is on track right now, going through, just coming out of the carousel and going on into the kink there. There he goes. Down the long back straightaway. Currently at a 1:48.171, which puts him just under 3 seconds off of Nate Seifker's time. And last week's winner, the 6 of Timothy Bates. Now, Timothy Bates is currently sitting in pit road, has not put down a qualifying time, didn't do that last week either, and it was one of, if not the closest finish you will ever see.
Absolutely. It was one of those deals where, thank goodness for electronic timing and scoring, they had to go at the 5 decimal places.
Jeez.
So that's what, 1/100,000th of a second, and at 230 miles an hour, you're talking approximately the width of your pinky finger.
Yeah, look, that really is an absolutely incredible finish. As Sturgill now going through one of the corners that and losing it. Through one of the corners that we're going to be highlighting all night long. I believe, if I counted my numbers right, I believe that's turn 4. Going down downhill, heavy braking zone after a long straightaway. That is going to be one of the biggest points of emphasis here tonight, is to get that really tight corner right.
Absolutely, because if we can find somebody that's going through there now, as you go into that or come out of that corner, there's a dark patch on the outside, and that used to be curbing. Now it is black spray painted asphalt to mark where the track edge is, and that black spray paint is not textured. It's a very slick, glossed paint that they don't want you putting tires out there. To mark the difference between the long course and the short course. So they don't want you as, I believe there's Karen Bergelli getting ready to head towards it now.
Yeah, and Roulette's there with him. That orange number 66. Here they come into that corner.
Yeah. So you could see that patch that Roulette just put his right side tires on. Can't just mat it. And the other problem that you're going to have is where Roulette just went into the next corner. When you crest that hill, the rear end of that car gets real light real quick.
Yeah, that's all of the weight coming off the car as you're cresting over the hill. A big braking zone. The back end really does want to come around there. We've got a minute and about minute 45 seconds left here in this qualifying session. So if you're on track right now, this is probably going to be your last lap, unless you've hit the line a couple of seconds ago. So Seifker's still leading. He's actually put down a quicker time. He is now a full second clear of Chris Walker, who is going through the carousel right now. And some of the races that we've broadcasted here recently on the road courses, remember we went to Spa-Francorchamps, of course Watkins Glen, Seifker and Walker were the two that really stood out and ran away from the rest of the field. Chris Simard, Jeff Webker are right there with Walker, but it's clear early Seifker's in a league of his own right now.
Yeah, and it's kind of to be expected. I'll give you an example. Seifker went to the virtual 24 hours of Spa, qualified the car for Team ESBN third quick. The only two people that were quicker than him were a professional Argentinian touring car driver and I believe a Formula Ford driver were the only two people that out-qualified him, and then Nate made them look stupid during the race, led the first 5 hours of the event, led the first 4 hours of the event, turned the car over to another driver who led another 90 minutes because Nate gave him such a lead that there was no catching him. And it was only on the next driver exchange that the lead was relinquished.
And yeah, it just goes to show how good he is when you have to turn the car both left and right. The qualifying session has ended. There's a 2-minute timer right now, so your flying laps here will count as we head towards the closing stages of this. Just like Formula One qualifying, 20 minutes, open qualifying. You can run as many laps as you want. As Walker really pushing it there, coming as he's going through the second to last corner here. Now the final corner as he heads up this long straightaway and then uphill to get to the start-finish line, and Walker will put in a 1:45.6. So that will separate him from Chris Simard.
And go to the backup car.
Yeah, and Jeff Webker. And then, you saw that there. As still looking for guys, Jeffrey Roulette is on track right now, currently sitting in 8th. I believe he's actually done. Yep, and that looks as though we have our grid set here with about 50 seconds to go here before we tick over to the race. So with that, we will take a look at our starting grid here for this evening, and it will be Nate Seifker on the pole, sitting up alongside Chris Walker, Chris Simard, and Jeff Webker will make up row 2. Ronnie Osmer and Jeffrey Bogan will make up row 3. Mark Walker and Jeffrey Roulette will make up row 4. Row 5 will be Michael Sturgill and Ernie Ludwig. Row 6, Butch Davis and Kieran Brugelli. Tony.
Yari Barrowpratcher and Tony Phillips going to get row number 7, with row 8 going to Will Fletcher and Carl Burke. Paul Crumry and Kevin O'Brien are going to make up row number 9, with row 10 going to Jeff Hollingsworth and Dan Brazington. Mark McFadden and Raul Alvarez going to make up row number 11. With row 12, we're going to see Charles Woods and Tim Bates, your points leader. Brett Beasley and Johnny Antonucci starting shotgun on the field in row 13. 26 cars scheduled to do battle here tonight for 40 laps.
And that is a large amount of drivers here, especially for a race such as this, as we get set to grid up here for these guys. As Tony, if you wouldn't mind taking over here for a second.
Sure. We're fully expecting that, Seifker is going to start to put on a clinic early on. Now, they are going to be giving us a competition caution around lap 10, just to kind of tighten the field up, just to, make sure that everybody's got a chance to at least figure it out. At that point, we're going to really see these guys start to turn and burn, and it looks like we are going to do a rolling start tonight. They had talked about doing a standing start and then thought better of it with the downhill or the uphill leading to the start-finish line. They didn't want to have cars rolling backwards into each other.
And that's a very fair reason as to why you will want to do it. The only downside is this is a really, really long pace lap here at Road America. This is a 4-mile long racetrack, so a very, very long pace lap to try to get around here. As a couple more notes here for this track, as the cars now do roll off to begin that said pace lap. Again, as Tony mentioned, we'll have a competition caution on lap 10. So at the quarter distance mark, we will have a competition caution here tonight. Fuel tanks will be allowed to go full, as they were not allowed to do last week. There is one fast repair available for the drivers here tonight, and unlimited tire sets here for the race this evening. So that's another thing to keep an eye on as we go around this, some would say, Tony, excessively long pace lap.
Yes, but now would be the perfect time for anybody that's not wanting to sit around for the next 2.5 minutes to visit our Teespring store, which you can find a link in the video description below. You can get your short sleeve t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, tank tops, sweatshirts, hoodies, throw pillows, coffee mugs, and the all-important ESPN face mask. And be sure to check out our new line of apparel, the I Love My Wife line. That says I love, in big letters, I love, little letters, when my, big letters, wife, small letters, lets me watch ESPN. So you can get your very own of that, and you can also. And Frank, I believe you've got some big news that just got dropped yesterday.
Yes, I do, and also in the link in the description below, you'll notice a new link. That is to our ESPN website, which just booted up around this time last night. Made public, so we are very proud of that, as you think we would be. A link to that Teespring store is also there as well. If you want to, if you are watching and you are interested in having a league broadcasted, there's also a link. There's also a page on there where you can contact us about having your league broadcasted as well, including upcoming races, live races. Some of you will be watching the YouTube link on our website. Right now, we'll also have race replays on there and a full-length calendar with all of the links to all of the races on the website as well, including breaking news with ESPN, and all of the leagues that we are broadcasting will be up on our website at espnofficial.com. We tried for ESPN, but because it was so close to ESPN, Disney thought it would be a good idea to protect its asset, those jerks. So as we get towards the end of this long pace lap here, I'm excited, Tony. I think these guys can match certainly the intensity that they showed last week at Auto Club. I'm thinking we might not be in for a repeat performance for the position, for the win, but certainly the racing in the midfield.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, exclude the aliens in the field, and you've got less than a tenth separating 3rd through 12th.
And that just goes to show how close racing here at Sim Racers Edge really is. The cars make their way up the hill. Nate Seifker and Chris Walker leading them down. The green flag is in the air, and we are racing from Road America, round number 2 of the Sim Racers Edge season.
We're almost 3 wide, hauling it off into turn number 1. Seifker with the point. 2 by 2 they go behind him. That is Webker and Samard doing battle right now. Webker with the nose out front in 3rd, and everybody's starting to get single file behind him just to make sure they make it through lap 1.
And as we talked about, we highlighted this earlier, this is the big part of the track right here. As you can see, that's the 09 of, that's the 55 of Osmer, and Webker makes a move to the inside of Chris Samard. He's able to hold the position, going down into that tight corner, and then uphill, Samard washes out. Not as bad as Webker does, though. He's in the grass.
Yeah, Webker just went on a ride and lost about 8 spots. That's not what he was hoping for, especially this early in the event.
Webker falls from 5th to 8th as a result of that, as they make their way now through the carousel. Nate Seifker and Chris Walker have both stretched out a little bit of a lead over Ronnie Osmer and company. And if you're a Formula One fan, that is the 2 Mercedes leaving the rest of the field in the dust, as they do every single week.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the easiest way to describe what we're seeing right now. And you have a battle of the Minardi and the Williams going at it for 3rd.
It's the best of the rest at this point here for Ronnie Osmer. Now again, this will sort of cycle everything back, because there is going to be a competition caution 10 laps into this race to bunch everybody back up again. So that is on the horizon. As you can see, here's another guy who we saw a little bit of last week, Jeffrey Bogan, in that number 28 Patron Tequila Delara, running currently in the 7th position, had a solid qualifying run, and right now, at least through 1 lap here, very, very solid run here going so far.
And Mike Sturgill making a move on Chris Walker to get up into the top 5. Sturgill looking for a little redemption after last week, and you could tell it in the post-race interview that closest finish in iRacing history, and it still hurt that it wasn't him on top of the leaderboard.
Going back to the man who was on the top of the pylon after the race last week, Timothy Bates, again, did not put down a qualifying time, currently sitting in the 21st position. He has Dan Brazenton and Mark McFadden in front of him, as that purple and green number 6 machine, with his 2 teammates up at the front of the field. I'm sure Bates is going to be looking to move his way through as quickly as he can.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not one to sit back and just...
Oh, we got a spinner here. That's Crumry. And Mark McFadden had to stop to try to avoid hitting him. He still did hit him, though, as McFadden now has no front wing. No left front wing on the front end of Mark McFadden's number 22. And that Apple TV car not looking good. And Jeffrey Roulette in the pits as well with left front wing damage.
Got it all wrong going into the final corner. He had gotten into. I didn't catch who he got into going into the kink and bent up the left front sponson on that boat and could not make the last corner.
And that's not typically the way you would see a left front wing working in one of these cars. Butch Davis, I believe, may have called it a night as there was another car in pit lane up there. Davis is still there from what I'm hearing. Oh no, Davis is running. It was just a little bit of a lag issue there. So
that's
Butch Davis
Samard.
is running. That is Chris Samard.
Samard came into the pits without a front wing.
Yeah,
I'm going back and looking at what happened.
Yeah, and that probably has
more or less. He got it all wrong going into the corner that you and I talked about earlier. That second to the last uphill, cresting the hill, the car snapped loose on him, and he ate concrete badly.
And we're going to be seeing that a lot here this evening. Ronnie Osmer now holding on to that third position, still there, is off of second place Chris Walker by about 3.5 seconds, and then it's another about 3.5 seconds back to Michael Sturgill, who currently occupies the fourth position. Jeffrey Bogan has Jeff Webker right behind him. That is a battle for fifth between Bogan, Webker, and Walker, and those guys have been running very similar times all throughout this session here tonight. Tony Phillips, we're hearing, in pit road in the 32.
And he too is missing a front wing. Like going into the first corner, got it all wrong.
Again, we talked about.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he got it very wrong.
I mean, we talked about the downhill, that sharp downhill left being a very difficult place because you're coming off of that long straightaway into a heavy braking zone. Turn one might not be as tight a corner, but it is still just as heavy a braking zone.
It definitely is, because you're carrying so much speed after the uphill. You've got such a long front straightaway here. Matter of fact, they can land jets on that front straightaway here at Road America. Don't ask me how I know this, but let's just say...
Take a measurement.
Well, no, let's just say that there are YouTube videos out there explaining the Whittington brothers who used to own this facility. That's all I'm going to say on that one. If you've seen the video, you know what I'm talking about. But carries so much speed into turn one. Yeah, it's a trouble zone for sure, especially considering that you start to go downhill a little bit going into that corner. And what we saw with the 24 was had two tires on the curbing when he tried to put the power down. He was trying to make a move, and it just doesn't work.
It is unfortunate when that does happen. As still, this battle for fifth here raging on. It's one of the closer battles we have. We also have Ernie Ludwig, William Fletcher, Carl Burke. That is a battle for eighth position. Those guys pretty much right at the same time difference as Bogan, Webker, and Walker. So a couple little battles going on. Still, Nate Seifker leading by 2.5 seconds over Chris Walker up at the front, and then it's about a 5-second gap back to Max Verstappen. I mean, Ronnie Osmer in third position.
I see what you did there. And we're about to get sued. But one thing I'd like to mention, how about Brett Beasley? Did not put in a qualifying time, started 25th on the field, is already up to 12th.
Yeah, and that, of course, that's one of the big things about road course racing is just trying to survive and just getting through. Guys in front of you are going to make their mistakes and then just pouncing on those. Brett Beasley, you're right, 100% has done a great job of keeping his car clean. Same thing with Timothy Bates, who is right behind him in 13th position. And pretty much everybody behind those guys, Dan Brazington, and I would say Yari Brubpatcher is the back end of that group. Everyone else behind them has faced some sort of issue in this race.
Yeah, they have, and I'm watching Beasley right now because this is going to be the first air quote clean lap that he's been able to get to a 149, a semi-clean lap, anyways, where he hasn't had to really pick his way through traffic as he follows Jeff Hollingsworth and starts to reel him in now. But yeah, like you were saying, from everybody from Butch Davis, including Butch Davis, back. Has had to take it pit side for one reason or another so far.
And you might have seen as we were watching Brett Beasley, you might have seen at the top of the screen as Beasley just overcooks it into that into turn 4 a little too much. Have some ground to make back up. But as we were following Brett Beasley, that was Tony Phillips coming out of the pit lane there as we are halfway to the competition caution. Here working lap 6 of 40, still up the front, not missing anything. Seifker pulling out his lead up to 3.4 seconds now over Chris Walker. And still it's that battle for 5th between Jeffrey Bogan, Jeff Webker, and Mark Walker, which has kind of been the highlight of the race so far. And then there's Fletcher, Ludwig, and Burke behind them.
Well, I mean, of those 3 cars, you kind of got to figure Bogan's in the Ferrari, then you've got the Red Bull and the Toro Rosso behind him.
Osmer's in the pit lane now. His car is clean, so I'd have to assume this is a scheduled stop. Michael Sturgill in the pits as well. So these guys, I'm assuming these guys are going to try to pit here before the competition caution and gain that track position as...
Yeah, it's a good possibility to team strategy because they are on the same team.
Yeah, I would say so. As Ronnie Osmer out half a second quicker pit stop than Michael Sturgill, so I'd have to assume somebody at VSM is going to be talking to somebody's pit crew as they will jump. They will get back out on track. Bookending Yari Brubpatcher, Osmer in 13th, Sturgill in 15th position. As now a second ago, that battle for 5th is now a battle for 3rd, and Webker has overtaken Jeffrey Bogan.
He has. Bogan had an oops while we were watching Osmer in the pits. Just overcooked it, put the car a little too off track, and that let Wubbs get by him.
So now Jeffrey Bogan coming under fire from Mark Walker in the 00 behind him. Walker, we saw him a pretty decent amount last week at Fontana, right here as well, and now more cars coming into the pits. Here comes Bogan and Walker.
Seems weird to see Walker in anything other than a purple car. The Ohio native has been known to run, tribute paint schemes to some of the early super modified drivers, namely the Flintstone Flyer that just terrorized super modified fields in the late 60s, early 70s.
And he is the second car into pit lane. William Fletcher, Carl Burke in pit lane.
Can't get into his stall.
No, unfortunately, wow, he's having a massive amount of difficulty. Is Mark Walker getting into the stall? Finally does. Bogan is out on track, and that's going to cost him a pretty hefty amount of positions as he gets out behind both Burke and somebody else that I had mentioned coming into pit road there. Fletcher, and I think Fletcher might have I think Fletcher may have had an issue as well. He might have been speeding. He's still in the box.
Speeding in, yes.
And that's not something you expect to see. Now, unlike the Cup cars and the Xfinity cars and the trucks that we broadcast on the channel, these things have pit limiters. So it's very odd, and there's really no excuse to be speeding into or off of pit lane when you have that button you could just easily press.
Well, it could be a hardware failure. You know, buttons do break. So, I mean, there's always that possibility, or just the driver forgot to push it.
That very fair, as pit stop still cycling out here. We have 2 laps to go, well, really about a lap and a half, before we get the competition caution at the quarter distance mark, lap 10. Still Seifker and Walker 1 and 2. Jeff Webker up to 3rd by not having hit. Ernie Ludwig has moved up into the 4th position as he goes under the Sargento walkway down into that turn 4. Heavy braking zone for that Tide ride. And then back up the hill. And Tony, that's the part of the track you brought up during the pre-race, with how light that car gets, because your braking zone is right as that car unloads and gets very, very light at the crest of the hill.
Yeah, you've really got to have the car pointed straight when you go to hit the brakes, and you can't just jam on them, because you will go into full lock and spin the car out. So you've got to really know what the car is doing. You almost have to wait a second before. It's a late braking zone, whether you want it to be or not, because you've got to let the suspension settle before you can climb on the binders.
Or you can go the passive way and hit the brakes before the car loads off.
As I said, you've got to wait till the car settles before you... Nice turd.
Let's look back into 7th and 8th position. Ronnie Osmer passing Timothy Bates, as Osmer, the first car that has come into pit. Bates has not pit, and we had talked about it off air during the pre-race. That kink is very easy to get through flat-footed when you're alone. When you have somebody else around you, that car, the car in the back, tends to really push, especially with how big these wings are, and it makes that kink very tricky, as the competition caution has flown here on lap 10.
Yeah, the aero push is definitely real. When you, especially on a road course with how big of a hole in the air the leading car is going to punch, the trailing car, sometimes you've got to dab the brakes to get the front end to take a set to make it into a corner. We saw a perfect example there with Bates and Osmer. I can guarantee you Ronnie Osmer had to at least drag the brake pedal just to try to get that weight to transfer forward just a little bit, while trying not to lose any momentum to make that pass.
So as the cars cycle their way back to the safety car, I think that's Kieran Bergelli that might have had an issue in front of the leaders there, just trying to catch up on the cool-down lap.
Yeah, he had a big moment there.
Slip coming out of the final corner.
No, he had problems well before that. I'm going back and looking, and Bergelli did almost the last lap without the front portion of the car.
Okay. That does make some sense as to
and he's still having problems.
Yes.
And we're receiving word from our spotters that he lost it through the carousel just before the caution came out.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing as well. Is pace car is out of turn 3 or turn 2. I think is one of these kinks down this long straightaway here considered a corner?
You're asking the dirt oval guy about a road course.
Because I think one of these little bends and waves is considered a corner here, so that would make this turn 4. So the safety car now heading into turn 4.
Let me pull up a track map.
Has picked up a leader. Seifker and Walker and the rest of the field now starting to file in, and Lord knows they have plenty of time.
Okay, so the way that the turns work here, turn 1, obvious. The slight bend in between the two 90-degree-ish right-handers is actually turn 2. What you would normally consider turn 2 is actually turn 3. And then as you go to under the Sargento Bridge, that's turn 3A. Then
3A?
3A. Then you go down the hill, there's a slight kink, that's turn 4. The heavy braking zone at the bottom of the hill is turn 5. Uphill to turn 6, into turn 7, pretty decent straightaway to turn 8.
Then 9 is the carousel, 10
9
would be the
and
king.
10, no, 9 and 10
Oh, okay.
are the carousel.
That would make the kink 11. I'm assuming this bend that they're going through here is 12 then.
Nope, that is actually 11. That where they are right now is actually 11. No, that's 11. Now they're into 11A.
Wait a minute, so the actual turn isn't a turn, but the little tiny bend is a turn.
So that now they're into 11A, now into 11B. The 11B is what they generally consider the kink, or kettle bottom. And then you're into 12, which is right-hander. 13 is the second
now, and then 14 is
the last there's 13
corner.
and then there's 13A.
All right, enough.
13A is the crest where we were talking that they would have problems earlier.
Yeah, I am officially broken now as the leaders are going to head to pit road. Officially broken. I think, yep, all the leaders are in as we would have expected. So, first pit stops for the leaders. As the cars you're seeing out now are guys that pit during the stage looking for... during the first 10 laps, looking for track position. They now have it, and hopefully they can keep it as long as they can if they want to keep Nate Seifker well away from the lead of this race.
Now, real interesting about the front straightaway here, and how I found out that they have landed airplanes on here. If you get the chance, there is, if you're familiar with the VinWiki site?
No, I am not.
Okay, they did a video about the Whittington brothers who used to own this facility. And I'm not sure if they still do or not, so don't quote me on that part of it. But they had some nefarious activity, allegedly, and they used to land airplanes on here, and there used to be, way on the outside of turn 1, there used to be a large tractor-trailer container that nobody was allowed near.
Couldn't imagine why.
Take a guess. But anyways, it was a great watch, and I read up on them afterwards. And I was like, yeah, they used to land airplanes. Like, okay, interesting.
I'll tell you what is a great watch as well. Just to not to just completely blow the story off, but some of the racing lines that the safety car is taking, quite interesting. He is dipping it into the grass more than most of these guys have tonight.
Well, when you think about it, the pace speed is 60 miles an hour that he has to maintain through corners that the drivers can't even do 60 miles an hour at race speed or, under anger. And he's doing it in a virtual production car.
It's nice to be an AI, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. must be nice. And it beats when, the simulator glitches and all of a sudden you see, the pace car goes through a wall or does a 200 mile an hour, emergency stop to get in front of the field. It's like, wait, what?
So I believe we're going to have one more pace lap here.
Please, no.
So the lights are still on the safety car. So I believe we're going to have another one. Just to reset the top 5 here, Ronnie Osmer, Michael Sturgill, Jeffrey Bogan, Carl Burke, and Jeffrey Roulette currently make up the top 5. Those guys did not pit. After that is Nate Seifker, who did pit, currently in the 6th position. Then it's Walker, Webker, Ludwig, Hollingsworth. That will round out the top 10. Everyone has made at least one pit stop thus far. The first guy on track that has made 2 is Mark Walker in the 00 running in 13th position.
It's because he kind of got it wrong on cold tires.
Yeah, that and also coming in during this caution as well. So, as we will have just this one more lap to go here before we go back to green flag racing here to begin the second portion of this race. We're going to have, we'll be working on lap 14 when we go green here. And while we have a second, once again, if you are watching on Facebook, hello and thank you very much for doing so. If you're watching on YouTube, hello and thank you very much for doing so. Okay, so I guess we're hearing Facebook is down. So YouTube, if you go down into the link in the description below, you're going to see 4 links. You're going to see our normal Facebook, Twitter, and Teespring store. You will also see the first link there is our official website, which kicked off just about 24 hours ago. You can go to that website at esbnofficial.com, where you can look up news. You can watch this race on our website as well. You can see past races. You can see news from us and from all of the leagues that we broadcast as well. A little about us section, a calendar, an event calendar for all of our broadcasts, with links provided as well. That will be upgraded every day or so. And they'll be updated about every day or so. And also you will see a link to our Teespring store page as well on the website. That's esbnofficial.com. And Tony, as someone who has been here from the start, one of the co-creators of ESBN, I'm sure that is a milestone moment for you guys to be big enough to where a website is necessary.
Yeah, it's kind of surreal to be straight with you. When Sam Cooper Bennett and I formed the company almost 4 years ago now. Was it 4 years ago? 3 years ago. Neither one of us, I don't think, ever thought that we would get to the point where we would have to A, hire staff, B, have multiple broadcasts on the same night going simultaneously, and C, anything that you're seeing right now on ESPN, neither one of us. If you had told us this 3 years ago, we would have looked at you like, I want what you're drinking, because you're obviously 3 sheets to the wind. So the fact that we have a Teespring store, we have multiple broadcasts on some nights, and we have our own web page now, it's surreal.
And it shows a lot of the hard work that you guys have done, and I've only been here for 3 or 4 months, and I can definitely see the hard work that you guys have put in to each and every single broadcast. The safety car is off. Ronnie Osmer will lead the field to the green. He will. We are back to green flag racing here at Road America, and Osmer and Sturgill get a nice little jump on Jeffrey Bogan going down into turn 1.
Absolutely is. I didn't quite catch who that was that pulled over.
That would be Tony Phillips, who was several laps down at the moment, or was a lap down at the moment. And Mark Walker. We've heard one car around. Keir Bergelli is off in the background. And I think we're picking up William Fletcher here. And Fletcher, yep, that 37 car, he had gone around. So now we're hearing it might have been Charlie Woods. We're sorry having to look through this.
Bergelli already needs a new front wing.
Yeah, Bergelli had gone off after, what was that, turn 3A, 3B, 3L, what was?
3.
Okay, so turn 3. Bergelli had gone off then, but I believe it was Charles Woods, who is currently sitting in last position, 1 lap down, who had gone off early. And I believe Ronnie Osmer, unless he's having an internet connection issue. Yep, he's just having a connection issue.
Well, watch what Nate Seifker is doing, because he's currently sitting in 4th.
And he's only managed to get around Carl Burke through this first lap. He is right on the back of Jeffrey Bogan at a prime passing opportunity as he takes the outside into the grass.
Well, Bogan forced it.
Yes, he did leave the space. You do have to leave at least one car width of space.
Well, that front straightaway is pretty narrow, and Bogan was trying to take his half out of the middle to stop Seifker from going by him.
And that's what you have to do. You do have to try to defend at least in some respect. And now Seifker is going to try to pull a move on Michael Sturgill. That's for second place going down into turn 5, and he'll get the move done prior to the corner. And Seifker has one more car to pass before getting back to the lead, which he held for the entirety of the first 10 laps.
Mark McFadden has put it on the hauler.
And Mark McFadden, we had seen him earlier having an issue tonight. So that 22 of McFadden has decided to call it an evening, apparently, and that is unfortunate. As we continue to watch this battle here that is forming with Seifker and Sturgill. Sturgill hasn't let Seifker go just yet. Sturgill has definitely kept pace and has found some pace in that number 90 to try to work on that number 10 of Seifker.
I'm thinking he probably used a push to pass to try to defend, or at least counterattack, and it's not working to his advantage right now.
And Tony, really quick, just for viewers who are not sure as to what push to pass is, could you just briefly explain that push to pass system here on these Indy cars?
Well, the IndyCar engine right now it's a turbocharged engine, and IndyCar series it's regulated to X amount of boost. Whenever your engine creates more than that boost, there's a device called a pop-off valve that relieves that extra pressure that the engine can create at high RPM. Well, in order to create passing opportunities, IndyCar lets you override that, or I believe they give you 10 push to pass in this race.
Yes.
So 10 times during this race, you can override that and have as much boost as the engine can create, and go ahead and blow your engine if you feel like it.
And it's somewhat akin to the ERS system in Formula One. The only difference is you cannot recharge those push to passes. You don't get them back at the end of every lap. You have 10 for the race, and that is it, as the number 10 of Nate Seifker is on Ronnie Osmer here. And he makes a big jink going into the third to last corner. Osmer puts it a little wide, but Seifker, boy, he tried to make a move there, and I'm honestly surprised that he did.
Well, he was thinking about it going into 12, and then backed off to get a run going on the hill here. But you saw how close they got going through 13. That could have gotten very ugly very quickly. And Seifker and Osmer both are smart enough racers to know, it's like, okay, is he gonna? No, I'm not. And Seifker knows that there's still plenty of racing left. Osmer still has to go pit side. Seifker has pressure tires. So, just wait and watch.
Ronnie Osmer
He's going to get him in the downhill.
Osmer goes defensive, and he's going to force Seifker to go around the outside of him. There goes Seifker. Wow, a big slide. They're side by side going into the uphill turn 6, and Seifker with a power move. Osmer's still hanging in there, and now finally lets it up.
Yeah, I think Osmer finally realized that, you know what, he's coming by whether I want him to or not, so I think I'm just going to duck in behind him.
It was a nice little race and a very smart move by Osmer to take that inside. Seifker just matted it coming off of turn 5 and was able to hold it through 6 and 7, just waiting for turn 7 for him to get the inside line, and he finally got it.
He did, and the drivers both had a laugh about it afterwards. A couple comments were made.
There's Seifker. Seifker clipped the grass on entry into turn 13. This is going to allow Sturgill into the lead as Osmer ran wide to avoid him. And that just changed the complexion of this race a little bit.
I think Seifker's probably going to need to get a new fire suit before this one's over with, before his victory lane interview. But, Osmer had to go wide. Sturgill now with the lead. Bogan got by. Walker got by.
Seifker is essentially back where he started a mere 4 laps ago.
He's going pit side. Oh, no, he's not. My bad.
No, that was Jeffrey. That was Roulette that went pit side in the background. But Seifker coming under fire from Jeff Webker as he's still trying to recollect himself. And you hear it all the time. Grass does not have the same grip as asphalt, and boy, oh boy, Seifker caught a very stark reminder of that.
And you got to wonder, did he flat spot those tires? And did Osmer flat spot his tires? Because,
we got we just heard from our producer. Thank you very much for that super chat. I'm sure we'll try to get a name in there as we go through here. Great Lakes Truck Series, thank you very much for that super chat. Much appreciated. As we hope you're enjoying the show. I think you are. You wouldn't have done the super chat if you didn't. So thank you very much. We do appreciate it. Remember to like. Now I turned into the Twitch streamer. Yeah, now I turned into the Twitch streamer here. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to see more as Nate Seifker.
Turn on bell notifications.
Yes, bell notifications as well. As Nate Seifker, in the matter of half a lap, has gotten around Jeffrey Bogan and now has just gotten past his teammate Chris Walker. and is now in third place, back on the hunt as Osmer has gotten past Sturgill for the lead.
You kind of figured that was going to be a matter of time because Osmer is more willing to take chances than Sturgill is. Sturgill, still, I mean, he's younger than I am, but he's more of a veteran racer where he's looking at the laps going, okay, it's a 40-lap race. We're not even to the halfway mark yet. Go ahead and burn your crap up. I'm just going to run my line, run my race, and let the chips fall where they may. Because he knows that the two cars behind him are teammates, and they're not going to do anything really crazy to try to get by him.
We've seen several races with Michael Sturgill, and he has been a very good, very solid driver every time we have seen him. Unfortunately, he's come up in second the last couple of times we have seen him. Last time by just about as close as you can get. So
He's
Sturgill,
the Mark Martin of IndyCar racing.
Yeah, we certainly hope that changes here, hopefully tonight. But he does have Nate Seifker bearing down on him with a 1.8 second gap back to third place, and Chris Walker has stuck right to the back of Seifker here after Seifker got around him last time around.
Well, Walker's no slouch on a road course. We've seen Chris Walker lead on road courses in the past in Indy cars. So he's no slouch. And the fact that him and Seifker are teammates, that's just a death knell for everybody else. Step your games up, boys, because you're going to be hard pressed to beat those two on a road course.
You might have seen in the background Jeffrey Boken going into pit lane. We are one lap short of halfway, 21 laps to go. Ronnie Osmer leading Michael Sturgill, Nate Seifker, Chris Walker, and Jeff Webker, the top five. Butch Davis has found his way up into P6. Ernie Ludwig in seventh. After an early incident, Chris Simard running in the eighth position. He is fighting Ludwig for seventh positions. He tries to make a pass going down into turn 5. Ludwig pushes wide.
Walker missed the corner completely.
He's still able to hold position. Yes, Mark Walker behind them goes off, and now he is under pressure from Jeff Hollingsworth, who completes the pass. Hollingsworth up to 9th, Walker up to, down to 10th as they round out your top 5. Round out the top 10 part.
Yeah, that was some wild action. And Ernie Ludwig's one of those guys that he's really stepped his game up as of late. Seifker has gotten by Mike Sturgill.
Yeah, up at the front, Seifker has gotten around Sturgill going into turn 12, we'll call it, whether the track wants us to or not. As up the hill they go, it is now Osmer, Seifker, Sturgill, Walker, Webker, the top 10 as we've hit halfway point. And Seifker, who led all the way up until the competition caution. Osmer has led the race since. Seifker got the lead back for a fleeting second.
About 17 feet.
Yep, and then going into turn 12, dipped the, that would be the left rear wheel off into the grass and spun it. That gave Michael Sturgill the lead after Osmer blew the corner, trying to avoid the sliding Seifker. And now it has cycled back out to Osmer, Seifker, and Sturgill again.
And then Chris Walker trying to work his way towards Sturgill. Not really making a ton of ground. Kind of surprising, especially considering the early part of this race. Apparently clean air is a lot more needed than we thought it was. We're seeing these guys that in the early part ran away because they had clean air. Now they're not in clean air and they're struggling.
Yeah, and that's also the bigger wings that you see on these cars, a different configuration, a different body configuration that these Dallara IR18s have between the oval races and the
Osmer's in the pits.
Ronnie Osmer in the pits, as well as Sturgill in the pits as well. So those are guys that did not pit under the competition caution, having to pit a little bit earlier than everybody else.
We are halfway.
Yeah, we're just past the halfway point now. 19 laps to go here at Road America. Seifker and Walker now regain the lead with Jeff Webker sitting in the third position. Butch Davis up to fourth. Chris Simard up to fifth. Coming through at turn one with Ernie Ludwig hot on his heels. Then you're looking about 3 seconds back to Jeff Hollingsworth, who's got a nice little train of cars behind him, including Mark Walker, Brett Beasley, and Paul Crumry, who I think was the very first car who had an incident here tonight.
He was. So excellent recovery drive for Paul in the three there. And
wide goes Brett Beasley through 5. A little wide through 6 as well, but not as wide as Mark Walker. Again, trying to stick to the back of Jeff Hollingsworth. Mark Walker just cannot seem to do it.
Track limits, Mark. Track limits. he's using every ounce of asphalt that's here as Crumry just goes around the outside, going through the carousel of Beasley.
I think Beasley didn't get the run out of that he wanted to, and going into the carousel, he knew it was over, and let Crumry by, and that's what it looked like to me at least. So now Crumry up to P9, Beasley down to 10th. Another guy we haven't spoken much about here tonight, but we spoke about him a pretty decent amount last week, is the man currently sits in the 11th position, Jari Brupatcher, in the number 17, has just been hanging out for a vast majority of this race. Is running right in the 149, 150 range. Last time through ran a 149.6, which is only a couple of tenths off of his fastest lap of the race, and he's getting into this trio now of Crumry, Beasley, and now Brupatcher, who's, again, solid night for him.
Real solid night, and the one thing he's going to have to be careful of is he has fresh tires behind him. Ronnie Osmer starting to reel him in. Two more names that we haven't spoken of a lot tonight. Dan Brazenton currently sits right behind Michael Sturgill. So those two found each other again on track. Whether or not we're going to see the finish that we saw last week, that has yet to be determined. But the fact that, they're still both running top 15 in a stacked field like this is amazing.
And last week's winner, Timothy Bates, currently sitting in the 18th position. He's only made one pit stop tonight. Has the driver of the number 6, so he said last week he's not a road racer and is just trying to get out of here with the best finish that he possibly can. I think he has left front wing damage.
He has a lot
on that number 6
damage.
Yeah, you can see the back end. We can get a gyro shot. And the leader is coming in. Timing and scoring issue showed Seifker in. We apologize for that. But if we can get a gyro shot or a nose cam or something on
high-speed drone
Bates, you can see just how jacked up that left front wing is compared to the right front. Certainly be hampering performance on that number 6 as he heads up the hill to the start finish line and now downhill into turn number 1. as the top 5 remain the same. Same drivers, just a little bit different order, as Butch Davis has gotten around Chris Simard. That would be for the 4th position. Simard must have had an off because he is 6 seconds now behind Butch Davis. So the number that's 77 he's had a night as well here tonight.
Yeah, and you can see a little bit of wing damage on the right side of Simard's front wing. You can just catch it ever so slightly. It's not sitting level, and it looks like one of the skid pans is bent. So I'm thinking he hit curb somewhere. But yeah, Simard not having the night he was hoping for tonight.
I would have to assume he has taken a fast repair after we saw him enter pit road. I believe it was on lap 2 or 3, missing a front wing entirely.
Oh, the entire nose was gone on the car.
Yes. Garrett Bergelli has had a massive incident several laps ago. He's sitting in pit lane now with a broken rear wing. He's been in pit lane for a good 7 minutes now, so his rough night continues. That might have been after the restart there. We saw him go off. He might have had another incident after that.
Let me go look.
As Tony looks on that. Top 5 again, remaining the same. It's Seifker, Walker, Webker, Davis, and Simard. Ernie Ludwig in 6th. Jeff Hollingsworth in the 7th position. Hollingsworth still cannot shake the 00 of Mark Walker, who currently resides in the 8th position. And Walker, we've seen him do this a couple of times now. He has been able to get up to the back end of Jeff Hollingsworth. Unfortunately, he's not able to do much of anything with it before he makes a mistake, as he runs a little wide through the carousel. Nothing too crazy. As they head off into the kink now towards the end of this lap. Again, a 1:46 lap here. Seifker has put down the best time of the race at a 1:46.060. And to compare that to the time he just ran, his last lap in that number 10 was a 1:49.006. So Seifker has dropped off 3 seconds from his race best, even with the clean air, as that number 10 continues to roll. As I believe we have the number 77 of Chris Simard has come into lane now.
This is a scheduled stop for Simard too.
Yep. 15 to go. Can make
absolutely.
it from here.
Yeah, that's the good news. But getting back to the Hollingsworth-Walker battle, there's a reason why we call Jeff Hollingsworth the Iceman. Being as he is United States Coast Guard, there's not a lot that is going to shake Jeff Hollingsworth.
Certainly not shaken by Mark Walker behind him, who has fallen back now to about a second gap behind the 97.
Are you seeing what I'm seeing going through the left-handers with Hollingsworth's car? Does it look like he might have right rear suspension damage? That car looks like it's really rolling over on that right rear.
We could probably take a look at that now. I haven't noticed much of anything going through the left-handers.
Yeah, no, he's fine through the left-handers, but let's watch him going through the next right-hander.
I haven't.
He's going into the pit, so.
And he's got Walker. He's got Walker behind him. Everyone's in here. Seifker in, Chris Walker in, Webker in, Davis in. Ludwig in.
And
Osmer,
Chris
the
Walker
only
blew
one
through
not.
that stall.
I believe he did that last week as well, that put him back. So Walker having issues on pit road. Jeff Webker comes out right behind him. And Chris Walker is going to come out right behind Michael Sturgill.
And Ronnie Osmer has re-inherited the lead of the race.
Yeah, and that's due to how long he's been out on those tires. He's been out on that set of tires for 5 laps now. Has Osmer has a 4.5 second cushion back to Nate Seifker, who is in wide open air, so he could let that number 10 VS I'm sorry, I was looking at Osmer's car, pardon me. He could let that number 10 Voodoo machine rip. So you see him heading down into turn number 8. Your tight left-hander before heading into Road America's famous carousel. Corners 9 and 10. I can see why it would be 2 corners, because there is a little bit of a double apex deal about that corner, so you can see why. So Seifker has already caught up about 1/2 second on Ronnie Osmer, and this is just Seifker's outlap. We had mentioned Seifker's best time. Seifker's best of the race, a 146.06. Osmer's best is a 146.88. So that just goes to show the difference between the two on their best laps. As we're sitting now with 13 laps to go. Charles Woods coming out of pit road in the background. As we take a look now, back to third, and there is Woods.
Walker with a power move there.
And that's Woods coming out of pit road as Webker takes over the 5th position over Jeffrey Bogan. Bogan has 8 laps on that current set of tires right now. So Sturgill sitting in third, only a 1.5 separates him and Chris Walker, and Walker runs a little wide through turn 5. Able to maintain as they go up the hill. Walker holding off Webker and Bogan.
Yeah, Bogan right now trapped behind the lap car of Charles Woods. Or, I'm sorry.
Woods has gotten behind.
Oh, that's Webker.
Yep, that's Webker in front of him.
And sorry about that, folks.
Just looking through, that's Jeffrey Roulette on the back end of that orange number 66. Somewhat akin to the car that Fernando Alonso drove, as Bogan having a little bit of issues. Somewhat akin to that car that Fernando Alonso drove in his first attempt at the Indy 500 as Bogan comes in.
So Bogan in, that's going to hand Webker's 5th. As Webker with a power move to the inside on Walker. Just full send it mode.
And Jeff Webker and Walker both on the same sets of tires. As Webker in that 09 able to take over the 4th position from Chris Walker, who, even though he's had the 2nd fastest car today as far as race time, I don't know if you could say that he has had the 2nd best car of the race. And I would say that would go to Ronnie Osmer in the 55.
Well, Osmer definitely, as long as he's been racing, I mean, yeah, he's still only a 19-year-old punk kid. And I say that because I know Ronnie, and trust me, he's not a punk kid. But, being only 19 years old, Ronnie's been racing long enough that he knows race strategy and he's letting that strategy work for him right now. But the question is, do he and Sturgill have enough fuel to make it to the end from here?
And Osberg had a big moment coming off of that last corner, and that's going to be the key question here. As Seifker and Osmer, they've kind of held station. We had said on that first lap out of pit road for Seifker that he gained about a half a second. He had only gained another half a second in the 3 or 4 laps since then, and you can see what that off has done. That has bent that left front wing severely for the number 55. That is a major problem when you're holding off the best car in the field.
Yeah, it's now good luck, Ronnie Osmer. I can guarantee he's going to do everything he can to try to keep Seifker behind him. But the big question still remains, with the fuel mixtures he's going to have to run, can he hold off Nate Seifker while saving fuel to make it to the end?
He's going to run wide again through 8.
If it was one or the other, he might have a shot at it. But the fact is, he's got to be able to do both of those right now, and I don't think he can do both.
He might be missing a bit of the floor. No, he looks fine. But yeah, we noticed and heard Michael Sturgill saying a lot that he was playing with the fuel maps in the car at Auto Club, which is why he was able to run as long as he was able to run last week. So Osmer has that tool in his arsenal that he can run those fuel maps, the lower fuel maps. But unfortunately, with the lower fuel maps comes lower speed. And now that's hampered a little bit with the front wing. Is now Sturgill, the other one who we've been talking about, as far as can he make it on fuel, is coming under fire from Jeff Webker for 3rd position.
I think that answers that question about Sturgill. He is definitely playing with the fuel maps right now because his lap times are dropping off significantly.
Well, you can see how much Webker caught up to the back end as there goes Jeff Webker in the 09, but that better run on exit is going to allow Sturgill to get right back to the side of Webker going down the hill into turn 5. But you're right, with that fuel map adjustment, not able to stay there as Webker holds on to 3rd. Now, big slide from the rear end from Sturgill as he tries now to hold off Chris Walker.
And that answers the question about Sturgill. He is starting to run low on fuel because that is the first characteristic that you're less than a quarter of a tank of fuel left. When you go to jump on the loud pedal and that back end steps out, that means your tanks are light.
The fuel tanks are not necessarily right on the rear suspension, but they are at the back end of the car. So that does add rear weight to the car to help pin that rear end down. And as that weight slowly peels off, that car gets very tail happy. And especially in that case, as a guy we know is looking for fuel, as looking back up front here, I think Nate Seifker, something had to have happened to Seifker because we were just looking at he and Osmer were both in the same screen a minute ago, and now Seifker's fallen back 7 seconds off the number 55.
I don't see any damage on Seifker's car unless he's backed out of it, hoping that Osmer's got to go pit side. We're inside 10 to go.
That's a long way to back out of it. There's the answer to one of them. Michael Sturgill is down and away. And remember, Sturgill and Osmer came in on the same lap. after the caution, after the competition caution. But even still, though, there's still a very long way to go in this race. Again, 4-mile racetrack here, so it would be very foolish to try to push it. But even then, that's a long way for Seifker to fall off, as he's still falling off. We just checked a half a lap ago. He was 7 seconds behind. He's lost another 1.5 seconds to the 55.
Yeah, something's not right with Seifker. I don't quite know what.
And that's Osmer with front end damage still, as he stays out yet another lap. Working on lap 33 of 40, just 8 laps to go here at Road America. There's your leader, Ronnie Osmer. And a developing story, Nate Seifker, once again falling back, lost 2.5 seconds that lap. Osmer running a 47.5 to Seifker's 50.1.
Yeah, Seifker's definitely gone into fuel save mode.
And that's a big gap. I mean, we thought Osmer was in fuel save mode. The pit lane delta here is 40 seconds. So right now, if Osmer were to pit now, he would come out in 6th position. He'd come out in a fight for 6th with Ernie Ludwig if he came in right now. Still not a bad points day, but it's certainly not a win. Nate Seifker continues to fall back. And Jeff Webker holding on to 3rd right now. He might be within a shout at winning this race if Osmer has to come in.
Stranger things have happened, and, Webker knows how to win. Osmer's in.
So, again, we would expect Osmer to come out just about even with Ernie Ludwig in 6th position at this point. So this would hand the lead over to Nate Seifker. There he goes up the hill across the start line and has officially just taken the race lead back from Ronnie Osmer. This will put Jeff Webker in 2nd, just 3.5 seconds behind Seifker. See, Osmer is in the box. Now he's coming out. There goes, I believe that was Butch Davis. Here comes Butch Davis now. It's only 39 seconds in the box for Osmer. He comes out in 5th position, exactly where we thought he would be. Not as close to Ernie Ludwig as we thought he would be, but this is the position, P5 right now.
Now here's the question. If we know Seifker's fuel saving, what's Webker doing? Because they pitted around the same time.
Seifker, Webker, Walker, Davis, and Ludwig all pit 7 laps ago. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 are on the same tire and fuel load. Chris Simard running in 7th hit a lap earlier than Seifker in the lot. So a lot of guys on very similar fuel strategy here as we 7 laps to go here at Road America.
And for those of you who are longtime road racing fans, yes, this used to be called Elkhart Lake. Elkhart Lake Sports Car Course. They changed it to Road America. Same facility. Same beautiful scenery. Still in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. It's a bucket list track if you are a true racing fan.
It certainly is. As
Osmer's up in the 4th.
Yeah, Butch Davis and Ronnie Osmer battling side by side for the 4th position. Davis gets in behind the 55, trying to get some of that draft off of Ronnie Osmer, but the story is about to be up at the front. Jeff Webker just reeled in 2.3 seconds that last lap away from Nate Seifker, and Webker is rolling in that win number 09. As he hunts down Seifker, he is virtually there.
Well, as we've said numerous times, getting to someone is one thing, getting past them is another. Are we gearing up, as we're closing in on 5 to go, are we gearing up for another replay of last week's finish? You're on a road course, though.
That would certainly be entertaining, but I think the question is, how much fuel do these guys have? If Seifker is running 1 minute 50-second laps and everyone else around him is running 1:47s, as there goes Webker for the race lead as Jeff Webker takes it. The question is Webker going to be able to make it with how much fuel Seifker thinks he needs to save?
Sturgill just punted Jari Braupratcher.
That's less than ideal, I would have to say, as Sturgill, that's him just out of the carousel. You can see how bent that
and
right
Webker
front
takes
wing
the lead
is.
coming through the kink.
Yep, that might not be live there, Tony.
Okay, yeah, I'm not live. Sorry.
As
Every race.
Yep, they're going
without
through,
fail.
Yep, they are going right under the Sargento Bridge now, as Jeff Webker has a 1 second lead, or just south of a 1 second lead, over Nate Seifker. Chris Walker is almost 7 seconds behind Nate Seifker in third position, and then he has about 12 seconds, back to Ronnie Osmer. So the top three are pretty much safe. It's the order at which 1 and 2 are in right now could be the issue. As the guys go through the carousel, the question is, whose strategy going to win this out? Is it going to be Webker's, just go for it, or Nate Seifker's? That's
a good question. I kind of got to think that Seifker might be saving tires to make a race of this in the closing laps.
I mean, that could be it, as we'll see the lap times here, because Webker, Walker, and we know Osmer can make it. Yep. Webker ran a 48.3 this last time they crossed the line, and Seifker's brought it back up to a 48.7, so still slower than Webker. But he is confident enough as to he has saved whatever he needs to save, and now he can start to push it again.
What we're about to see as they head into the downhill section, we know Seifker has loved to use that as a passing zone all night long. And he does close up quite a bit that time, and gets a great drive into the uphill.
I've seen that before. Webker does take a little bit of an odd line going into 5. He just swings out before he comes in, gets about half his car over the rumble strips, and Seifker just goes straight in. So that's an interesting difference between the two.
I dare say it's because Webker must drive a lot of Xfinity cars here. Because with the stock cars, you really need to use as much of the track as you possibly can. Not as much. It more upsets the car when you do it in an Indy car. And we've got a battle for the lead. Is Seifker right on the transmission tunnel now of Webker?
Yep, Seifker has clawed back position now as we're coming up to 3 laps to go here at Road America, coming through the final corner, up the hill to the start line. Seifker in second, Webker in the lead. And from what we've seen in this race, that could be a very tall order for Webker to try to hold off that number 10 of Seifker.
Well, the other question you need is who's got pushed to pass left?
That's another fair point as well.
Is Webker, has he burned all of his? Seifker, does he have any of his left? That's the big question right now.
And that's the thing with push to pass. It's not just push to pass, it's also push to defend as well. As Seifker now tries to make the big lunge going into turn 5, makes the lunge. Webker tries the up and over. Webker has the inside for 6, but Seifker able to roll it in a little harder. Gets the grip on exit, and to the 10 with 3 laps to go is back to the point.
Not a big shocker there. You kind of expected it from Seifker. And I'm looking, looks like Seifker still hasn't used a push to pass. Webker's used 2.
Seifker now runs away from Jeff Webker.
Bye.
Has already put a 1.5 seconds on Webker. My goodness, he's quick.
You wonder why I call the kid an alien.
Yeah, I don't really wonder. I mean, I've seen him run road courses before. It's just amazing how within a couple of corners he can essentially just Sebastian Vettel the field.
As I've said before, if Nate Seifker didn't have to work a 9-to-5 job, which is actually a 9-to-7 job most nights, the kid would have his pro license on the road side of things here in iRacing.
And we've certainly seen it as he's about to pass last week's winner, Timothy Bates, and put him a lap down. We have 2 laps to go here. Now just shy of 7 miles left. As Nate Seifker, boy, when he decided enough was enough, he really made his move and made it count. As Seifker now with a 2.5 second gap back to Jeff Webker. Webker, unless he makes a mistake, is pretty safe with a 5 second gap back to third place Chris Walker, who is just going into turn 8 right now. So it appears as though here with a little bit more than a lap to go, the podium positions are set.
All those 3 guys have to hope for is one of them doesn't step on their own junk, and just throw the race away, which we've seen on road courses time and time again as Seifker's into lap traffic.
Yep, Seifker had a big moment there coming out of turn 12, getting around Timothy Bates, which was fairly straightforward. Coming out of the final corner and on to the final lap is Nate Seifker, who has just put in an absolutely dominant performance here tonight.
A 146.5 to start the last lap.
Compare that to Webker's 149.0. 2.5 seconds quicker than the man in second place. As looking back at third place, Mark Walker has damage on the front end of that car. Chris Walker, pardon me, has damage on the front end of his car. That left front wing is bowed completely up, and that has moved Ronnie Osmer up into third position.
Yeah, he got it all wrong coming out of the final corner. He caught the grass, caught the tire barrier, and was pointing the wrong way on a one-way street.
Wait a minute. Webker has gotten around Seifker.
What just happened?
Seifker has had an off somewhere while we were looking at that, and Webker has the lead here. Coming down through the carousel, Nate Seifker is down by 2 seconds.
Oh!
Off of Jeff Webker. Boy, Tony, what did you just say about throwing the race away? Seifker has done it here.
Seifker's out of fuel.
Seifker's missing his left front wing. Webker is spun. Webker is spun off the third to last corner. Out of 12, Webker has spun.
There goes Osmer.
Osmer is spun now. Osmer is in second place now. Seifker coming out of the final corner, missing his left front wing after an accident earlier in the lap.
Wide.
Boy, 4 miles is a long time as Nate Seifker wins at Road America. Boy, a lot of things can happen in 4 miles, can't they?
Okay, so I just heard Seifker had hardware issues going into 4.
Oh, no.
And he slowed dramatically and unfortunately hit the inside wall. You know.
So we'll try to sort all of this out, and we'll try to find all of these incidences, and to try to find all of these incidences
he is
that happened
completely
here.
out of fuel. The car's not running.
Boy, oh boy, this has been a. I mean, you wanted a topsy-turvy race. This was certainly it. My, oh my. All we do know at this stage is that Nate Seifker has won this race. Jeff Webker has stopped on pit road. So he looked as though he was going to win and is now tumbling down the finishing order. As I believe, Tony, you have our race winner here.
Nate Seifker, of all the last lap heroics, you know, I think you could kind of, you know, tone that back a little bit, but good grief, walk us through what happened on that last lap, sir.
So coming out of T2, I had a low disk message pop up in the center of my screen, and I had no idea where I was going, so that's where I got an off-track day. I cleared it, and I was good all the way down the backstretch, and right when I entered the braking zone, I got a black screen for about 5 seconds. I was totally blind. I had no idea where I was at all, and I went as slow as I could, and I guess I didn't come slow enough without stopping. And by the time I got it back, I was right in the wall. And then I was like, well, I knew Webker was like on map, like an insanely. He was going for an extreme fuel strategy, so I knew I had to go and push on. And I knew I had to go everything I had. And I think he was starting to run out on the backstretch, and then he looped it. So when I saw that he was slow on the backstretch, I was like, okay, I got a shot here. I thought I was second place, and I think he started running out or something, and he looped it just due to a power surge or something, and I got by him somehow. So,
well, you know, Nate, we've come to expect that you know you're the resident road course alien. How bad was it when you were in dirty air tonight? Because we saw that when you had clean air, you just ran away from everybody. But when you were, it wasn't quite as easy. It didn't seem like it was as easy going when you had to negotiate through traffic.
I mean, yeah, it was a little bit more difficult. You know how it usually is. It's always going to be that way. But it wasn't too bad getting by. You know, I got past everybody except for Ronnie pretty easily, pretty disposable. Then I had to fight a little bit to get past Ronnie there. You know, he just naturally has a little bit more pace. But I had an awesome battle with him. There we were side by side and we touched a little bit, and it was pretty awesome, to say the least. So, I mean, yeah, it was difficult, but it wasn't too difficult to the point where you couldn't do anything, for sure.
Well, Nate, moving forward, You didn't have the opening round that you were hoping for. You rebounded this week. Talk us through what you're looking for next week.
A win? I just got it. I mean, that's about it right now. I just got to go for wins. If I do that, I think I'll be all right. I just got to focus on just helping the league out in general, of course, and helping and just improving my performances last week. Yeah, I mean, went from 4th to 17th on the last lap, which wasn't ever good, and I almost went from 1st to 2nd on the last lap here. So I probably need to improve my last lap performance, of course, but overall, I think it was a solid result overall for NLR, or not NLR Voodoo anymore. Just a solid effort by the entire team and the league itself.
Well, do me a favor, tone down the last lap heroics for next week, because I don't think the ticker can take it.
I'll do my best. I can't make any promises.
All right. Nate, anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for being in the booth. I know you guys, two weekends in a row, you guys have had some difficulties, but you guys have overcame them with great adversity, and I'm really proud to have you guys on as a sponsor and a great partner of Sim Racers Edge. Thank all the guys that I work with to put this league on. We do a lot of work. A lot of stuff goes behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know, and we're glad that we're here doing this. I think I wouldn't have a better group of guys to do this with. I think every single driver that came out tonight had a great performance. We had 25 cars, I think, take the green flag, and I don't think we had hardly anybody drop out. So that's awesome. It's incredible. I'm really looking forward to the show that we can put on next week at Texas, too.
All right, looking forward to seeing you in the Lone Star State. Congratulations again on the win, Nate Seifker.
Thank you.
All right, so that was your race winner, Nate Seifker. And now joining me in the booth is the second place finisher, Ronnie Osmer. And after the pit strategy you had, the late pit stop, coming out as far back as you were, did you think second was in the cards for you?
I felt like there was a good chance to, even win it, because I knew they were cutting it very close on fuel, and I was just being safe all race, and I was pushing as hard as I can on that last run, more than I've ever on a road course race, and it's just, I felt as long as I could keep it straight and get to the checker flag, I was going to be close, and just over that last run, I lost by 4 seconds, and I can count 4 mistakes I made that would have got me there to win it.
Right before the pit stop, we had noticed you had some left front wing damage. The wing was curled up a little bit. Did that affect your car in any way that could have gotten you out a little bit further, so you had a little bit more of a cushion going into that money stop?
To be honest, I didn't even know I had front wing damage. I was just pushing it, and it felt like it was driving the same. So, maybe that did have an effect. We can go with that. It probably had effect, and I wish I knew about it. I would have pitted a lot sooner.
See, that just goes to show that not all the drivers listen to the broadcast while they're racing. But going into Texas next week, we're back on the ovals. We've seen you have great runs on the ovals. I'm sure confidence is going to be high after a second place here, going back to where you would feel more comfortable.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just going into the season, seeing how many road courses they've had on the schedule, I was like, this is going to be a long season, because I know ovals I can compete with them, with Nate and Chris and them. But on the road courses, they'll just leave me in the dust because I make too many mistakes. And this is definitely going to help me with confidence going into Texas, with a little more edge on my shoulder, knowing I can somewhat keep up now on the road. Just got to produce more on the oval.
All right, any shout-outs you want to give before we let you go and celebrate?
Shout out to you guys for broadcasting, Sam for this awesome paint scheme, Our Motorsports, Freight Auctions, Plan B Sales, Destiny Homes, they'll be on the car this weekend, and my mom that.
All right, so that is your second place finisher, Nate Seifker. Ronnie Osberg. Congratulations. Just looking at Nate's name on the timing pylon there. Tony, I believe you have the third place finisher, Chris Walker.
I am indeed joined now by the man rounding out our podium tonight, Chris Walker. Chris, not the easiest night for you tonight, but all things considered, can't be too disappointed when you put it on the podium.
No, not one bit. I mean, we had a real good start, and I was just trying to maintain pace towards the beginning in the first stint because I knew we had that competition caution. Wanted to make sure that I had cars behind me, and Nate was in front of me, and there was really nothing that I had for Nate, despite him and I working together and trying to analyze my practice sessions.
Now, we noticed that, when you and Nate both had clean air during that first 10-lap stretch, you both seemed to pretty much walk away from everybody else in the field. Once you guys got mired into the traffic, not quite as easy going as it was.
No, the traffic was definitely difficult to get around after the competition caution. But we had known that they had pit the lap. I think lap 7, I believe, is when they pit. So Nate and I had calculated that they weren't going to be able to make it to the end on just one additional stop. They were going to have to make 2 more stops in order to do it. And if Nate and I were going to be able to really have a good go at it for the end, or at least if I was going to have a shot at second, which is what my target was, I was really going to have to save a lot of fuel and let those guys burn as much as I could make them.
Well, you definitely made it work out, as unfortunately Jeff Webker, who at one time was leading this piece, ended up running out of fuel on the final lap, and we're starting to gain spots because guys were running out of fuel.
Exactly. Nate and I were watching Jeff, and Jeff was running at a real good pace, and we're thinking, okay, we don't have to worry about Jeff, just let him go. We know he's got a pit, and 5 laps to go. We're like, okay, he's got a pit next time. 4 laps to go. Nope, this time he's coming in. And lo and behold, we're like, he's the fuel save master. Don't know where he saved it at. Don't know when he got fuel, but we were convinced that he was going to run out at some point. And then when Nate was coming around the last corner of the last lap, he says, "Hey, Jeff's out." I'm like, okay, that works out great, because I had just thunderfooted turn 14 the lap before and relinquished the position to Ronnie, which was, I had a pretty substantial lead before I spun.
Well, we saw Ronnie try to give the position back to you coming to the checkers. He was able to keep it straight, though, coming through the grass. But, I don't know if you realized it or not, but Webker ran out going into pit lane, coming to the checkers, going into the uphill section.
Oh man, I didn't know exactly when he went out, but that's
he never even crossed the finish line.
Oh man, I feel so bad because he had a good solid run, and he had a real good car, and played it as close as you could probably play it.
Absolutely. But moving forward, the series moves from the Cheese State to the Lone Star State. Your thoughts going into Texas next week?
I'm really looking forward to Texas. I really like that track. Running official stuff, I've been pretty quick there in the past. I haven't run it in a while, but with the practice sessions that we'll be throwing up here over the next week, we've got a pretty good setup in the box that's ready to go for it. And after a nice run at where were we at last week? I can't even remember. California. I felt pretty confident in California, and unfortunately, health made me pull out of the lead at the last race, so that was a bummer. But I'm feeling pretty good going into Texas, and we've got a really solid field of drivers that have joined us for Sim Racers Edge this season in our inaugural year, and it's every race we go to, it's a challenge. I mean, we had 25 cars tonight, and that was a feat that I never thought we would accomplish at a road course. So I'm assuming that we're going to have another 30 plus car field at Texas, maybe even upwards of about 35. We might actually fill it. So and the talent that we've got that's joined us this year is is really, really good drivers. So if I can get a top 5, or I would be very happy with a top 10.
Well, Chris, congratulations again on the podium. Is there anybody else you want to thank before we let you go, sir?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody at Voodoo Racing, all my teammates down there. I want to thank you guys at ESPN for coming on board with us for this season and making this venture into what we had hoped to be a very fun league and a very, very competitive league to be a part of. So I just wanted to thank you guys. I want to thank Voodoo Racing. I want to thank my wife for letting me get away on Wednesday nights and doing a little online racing, and she's probably a lot more happier that I'm doing the online racing than I was doing the real racing and the Formula V's and the Formula Continentals that I used to do, and it's every bit of fun.
Well, Chris, again, congratulations on the podium. We're looking forward to seeing you next week in Texas.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate that. Looking forward to it also.
Right. So there was your third place finisher, Chris Walker. And just before we get into our wrap up or wind down of the race, let's just do a summary of what happened on that last lap, starting with Chris Walker. Had hit the grass coming out of the final corner, had spun, relinquishing, and nosed it actually into the tire wall just before pit lane. That relinquished the third position over to Ronnie Osmer as he was getting the car sorted. Then you had Nate Seifker lose the lead after the technical issues that you heard about with him. Came out of turn number 5, apparently screen went blank, and I'm sorry, came out of turn number 5, screen went blank, had to nose the car into the wall because he couldn't see where he was going. Then you had, so that relinquished the race lead to Webker. Webker then goes and spins out a lap on the third to last corner, runs wide going out of the final corner. When he gets back on the track, fuel was done. That gave Seifker the lead back. That gave Osmer the race second position and Walker third. So Tony, I'm sorry, Tony has actually stepped away, pardon me. So that brings to a close just another incredible race with a lot of twists and turns, no pun intended, at the end of this event. So we will go now into the finishing order here for round number 2 of the Sim Racers Edge season. Nate Seifker comes away with dramatic win. Ronnie Osmer second, Chris Walker third. Jeffrey Roulette finishes in 4th position, and Mark Walker coming home in 5th. Butch Davis finishes in 6th, Jeff Hollingsworth 7th, and after starting 25th, not posting a lap time in qualifying, Brett Beasley comes home in 8th position, Jeffrey Bogan finishing in 9th, and Michael Sturgill rounds out the top 10. Ernie Ludwig finishes 11th, Paul Crumrye finishing 12th, Chris Simard started 3rd, finishes 13th after a litany of issues tonight. Raul Alvarez finishing 14th, Carl Burke 15th, 16th goes to Timothy Bates, the last car on the lead lap. Jeff Webker comes home in 17th, 1 lap down after not being able to finish getting up the hill. Assumptions can only be that if he did not spin out in turn 12, then he would have been able to have enough steam and momentum to at least start his way up the hill and possibly win the race. But unfortunately, he dumped the car into first gear going through turn 12 and just too much oomph on the power on exit, and that's what spun the 09 around and into the wall. He will finish again P17, 1 lap down. William Fletcher finishing 18th. Tony Phillips, after an eventful night, finishes in 19th position, also 1 lap down. 20th, 2 laps down, goes to Charles Woods. Yari Broadpatcher and Dan Brazington, 2 guys we didn't mention much tonight, finishing in 21st and 22nd, both of them 5 laps down. And I believe only 4 DNFs here this evening. It would be Johnny Antonucci, Kevin O'Brien, Kieran Brigelli, and Mark McFadden making out positions 23 through 26 in that order. So that will do it for us here tonight on ESPN. We would like to thank all of you for joining each and every single week as you do. Be sure to look down in the description of this video for our Facebook page, our Twitter page, our Teespring shop, as well as our brand new website, which is the very first link on there, where you can see a replay of this race. You can see race replays from earlier in the week. You can also catch up on news with everything going on with ESPN and with the leagues that we broadcast, an event calendar with YouTube links attached, and much, much more, as well as a link to that Teespring store. Going back to the Teespring store, 2 promo codes, both of them are still available. You have the ESPN 20 promo code, which gives you free shipping inside the continental United States, and the NASCAR promo code, which gives you 20% off your entire purchase, no matter where you are. So for my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, our producer, Sam Cooper Bennett, for doing a fantastic job on short notice here tonight, my name is Frank Marchese. We thank you very much for joining us here for round 2 of Sim Racer's Edge, and we will see you next week at the Texas Motor Speedway right here on ESPN.